That's okay.
It's always good to have a refresher.
Okay.
It's recorded.
Yes.
Well, sir, you have a quorum, Mr. Chairman, and anytime you'd like to start.
Welcome, everybody. There's a list for sign up for today's meeting. I believe you all have received copies of the minutes for May the 11th.
Would you like to call the meeting to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And by the way, we're also live now on TV.
Okay,
Just to let you know.
we'll call our meeting to order at
No, that's not working. That's
It is
12:19.
12:19. We have a quorum, and there's a list for signups if somebody has not signed in. Item number 3, approval of minutes for May 11, 2018. You all received copies of those, and there's also a copy on your notes for today. Is there any changes or a motion to accept the minutes?
I so move that we accept the minutes.
We have a
As presented.
motion by Jorge Gonzalez, a second by Juan Gonzalez. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Everybody against? Motion carries. Item number 4, citizen comments. The floor will be open for citizen comments throughout the meeting. At this time, do we have any comments from the public? Okay. Floor will continue to be open until the end of the meeting. Item number 5, treasurer's report, financial update on Laredo Housing Finance Corporation. Mr. Garcia.
Mr. Chairman, Arturo Garcia for the record with Community Development. We have our bank statement for May 2018 for the Laredo Housing Finance Corporation. That's a Kaufman Bank. The current opening balance statement was $102,415.72. We had 2 deposits in the account based off of accrued interest that we have, 122.39 and 13.06, for ending balance of $102,551.17. So that's what's currently available in the bank account.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Juan Gonzalez. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries. Financial and operation update by Capstone Real Estate Services with discussion and possible action on Hamilton Apartments repairs, improvements, leases, operations, and management. Ladies, have the floor.
Financial, we reported April financials at the last meeting. May financials are not out, so we'll have that ready for you for our next board meeting. And then we added some things that we wanted to discuss as far as approval. Approval for, I had my fire extinguisher inspection, which is the first thing. Fire extinguishers need the 6-year maintenance on it. I was able to obtain 3 quotes, and the 3 quotes are attached for your review and approval, which is ABC fire extinguishers coming in at $2933.43. Simplex Grinnell, they are the ones who service our panel, our fire sprinklers and our alarm panel, and their quote came in at $34.98. And we have Allied, we're missing anything.
Nothing allied.
I don't have it. Thank you. I didn't bring it with me, but it was at $19.35. Allied came in at $19.35 for the 6-year maintenance on the fire extinguishers.
1935?
Let me see. I should have it. I should have it. 1935.
What is your recommendation?
Allied has done the inspection in prior years, and I recommend Allied so they could service the fire extinguishers. That would be servicing and then replacing one. We need to replace one.
How many are they total?
It's 47, sorry.
So we have them on all the different floors?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
And they're the least expensive out of the 3 quotes that we
Yes.
received. We've used them at other sites and, they do their job, they pass the inspection and they're certified. That is their specialty. So I think we should go with the lowest bid for 1935.
We need a motion?
We have a motion to approve, second by Mr. Jorge Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Voting yes. Okay. Expenses for allied to be,
Fire extinguishers. Perfect. Okay, we went ahead and submitted 2 quotes for computer, office computer. There's computer at the office is like outdated, like really outdated. So we were looking into laptops so we can be able to work if need be at
Different sites
different
and budgets
sites.
and everything.
Mhm.
We do have budget camps that the girls from the other offices take their laptops because they've got everything that they need in there. And it's more flexible to take it to and from and work on it. Sometimes they're sick and they can work from home or anything like that need be. And these were the 2 quotes, the least expensive that we found. Plus, of course, the home office, which is at
$229.
$229 for the computer. So it would be a total of like $800.
do we have to buy the computers?
I'm not sure, how is it still running?
They're not employed by us.
No, but it would come out of Hamilton's because they would belong to Hamilton.
Why would Hamilton need computers?
In the past, that's how we've purchased them, through Hamilton.
Can we check out the?
I guess we can, look. I mean, I don't know what your management, you need to probably better explain to the board the management agreement that you have.
For the properties,
Yeah.
anything that's expense for the properties would come out of the properties budget.
But this is not an expense for the property.
It would be a computer that's used for the property, for their operations, for their one site, for their nexus, for, contracts, everything. It would be used for the property.
To
And
print
in the past-
leases, to screen tenants, to post payments. What else do we do? A lot of stuff on the
It's just
computers.
like the copier, we purchase it through.
How is the current computer that you guys got there right now? Is
It's
that-
outdated, it's
No,
been.
who, is it on your inventory sheet for the Hamilton?
I'm
or-
assuming yes. Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
Well, assuming and knowing. Is
I know,
it or is it
it's
not?
for
Can we
Hamilton,
check?
it's Hamilton's.
Can we check on it?
Do it? Yeah, we can check on it.
Let's table the item for the next meeting and then we can
It should be on the list of equipment for Hamilton
Hamilton.
because it was purchased through Hamilton. If you all decide to end the contract with Capstone, the computers would stay there.
Oh.
We wouldn't take the copier, wouldn't take tables, nothing. Because everything that's in that building belongs to Hamilton.
We'll take a look at the management agreement.
Okay, the next thing is there's 2 bids for the dining room roof. One of them is from SPF Roofing. And he's recommending a TPO roof similar to what was installed at the Hamilton. And the next one is a Carlisle roof that is also similar to what was installed, to the Duralast that was installed at the Hamilton. There's a significant difference in the bid. One of them is for $31,247, and the other contractor is at $16,416. I did
see
reach
that
out.
Carlisle, which is in
Carla, I think it's back in front, the
on
copy.
the side.
The front copy is saying that they're a Carlisle applicator, and then the quote is in the back. Okay.
Because they're not set the same.
That's it, no, it's not. Here you go.
They're in different order.
It's the-
It's in back of the SPS.
SPS.
That's a Carlisle.
And they're both providing you a 20-year warranty?
Both providing a 20-year warranty. I did reach out to JJ Flores Roofing. I had Ray from Frank's Architect contact them also, to no avail. They haven't come by the site. Ray stated that they were swamped with work and they haven't been able to come out to the property.
We don't have that bid,
Which one do you need?
the Carlisle bid.
And the bid is in the back.
It's the same number, 60 million?
Yes. mhm. Same number, huh?
16,460.
The previous contractor, the one who did the roof at Hamilton, had quoted, if not $100 more than JMI, but that's really similar to what the previous contractor had quoted.
What had already been approved,
That had
but
been
the
approved, yeah,
vendor's
mhm.
just not responding to our
Never
calls or
responded,
emails
no.
or anything.
JMI, the warranty is only contractors. I mean,
Manufacturer.
manufacturer's warranty.
Mhm.
See.
And that's what
20
we've been
years.
kind of wanting, the warranty more than anything else, so.
I could
That's a-
reach out to.
That's a good thing.
Mhm.
So they're providing you the warranty, you
Yes,
said, right?
they are.
Mhm.
The mechanical, fastening.
Everything,
all,
everything that
and
was,
according to manufacturer, to receive a 20-year manufacturer's warranty.
yes, sir.
Recommendation?
What do you guys recommend?
We recommend JMI.
I motion to go forward.
Motion by Mr. Juan Gonzalez to accept JMI contractor's bid. I'll second the motion.
Can I just throw one little question here?
Yes.
Where are we paying for it, Adam? It's not out of the 102, it's from your operation, from the money they deposited to you?
For this roof,
Yeah.
it was included as a change order for the previous contractor, so it is gonna be part of the
Red
part of
capital.
the red
Oh,
capital
okay,
expense.
great.
Mhm,
This
yes,
is one.
mhm.
They're not gonna affect this.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Juan Gonzalez, second by Jose Zúñiga. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries to accept JMI contractor's bid of $16,416.
And there's an item that we didn't include in the agenda, but it's regarding the trash. Is it okay if we discuss or we can?
There was two things I wanted you all to show the board. Was one is, where you wanted to discuss with them the trash issue.
Yes. mhm.
And then the second item, I had asked you all to bring up to the board so that they could have a copy of all the lease costs and square footage. Remember I told you? there was some-
Is it something related to?
Well, it says repairs, improvements,
okay.
and it says
And
operations and
operations.
management, and management.
Under that particular item?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have the lease information, or if we can provide it later, then we can just provide it to the board as a little
Yes, we
packet.
did work on that.
We did, I emailed it to you, I thought you were gonna bring it. I didn't bring it, sorry.
Okay, I'll have it for you for the next board meeting.
Okay.
It included the rent, the square footage, the lease term, when it expires and all that, that was on that spreadsheet. The trash situation at Hamilton, the bins were moved last Friday to the courthouse. As of today, Mr. Nava was by the office and saying, you know how things were going, but there's already been complaints about the smell. Different trash that's being disposed there. Trash at the courthouse right now, I'm assuming, is more paper and stuff like that. What's going in the trash bin now is actual lived trash, diapers, food, all that. I did make a call to solid waste, and I asked if they provided the service in the downtown area for the green cans. The green cans, she said yes, Ms. Torres said yes, they do provide them, they would be able to service us. They would service the trash pickup, they would do it 7 days out of the week, they even do it on Sundays, at the cost of $220 monthly. That's the max they could charge our water bill for the service. Right now, we're paying $680, including the space that we're gonna start paying. So that is, there's a variance there, as maybe we could give it a try to see how it would work. I know that the downtown area needs to be kept clean, so what I would do is schedule one of my guys to come in earlier, bring the trash cans out, have the trash picked up, bring them back downstairs, and it will also create a better, it would be hygiene situation at Hamilton, because I don't know if you guys are aware that the people at Hamilton still use the old-fashioned trash chute disposal. They go into the room, they open the chute, and they drop their trash. Now you're having trash drop from the 12th floor all the way to the basement, which creates chaos. Even if they bag the trash, it's gonna break, it's gonna damage when it hits the trash cart downstairs. What we plan, if that would be allowed, is we would close off the trash chutes, have the people come downstairs just like they do to drop off their recycle, and it's bagged, we have the trash cans out there. The guys will haul it out every morning, bring them back in, clean them, disinfect them the same day, and it would be 7 days out of the week. And the cost, there would be a cost savings there, so I don't know, what do you all think of that?
If I may ask a question, Mr. Chairman, how about for the restaurant? Because I know I did receive a call from the restaurant. Would that apply to them too? They
Yes.
would be participating in that?
They would have to, because there's no other way for them to dispose.
Yes.
I think he's having an issue. He was supposed to be at this meeting today because he was advised
He did
of the terms of his lease and the trash situation. And he was advised to the meeting. I was expecting him to be here today, but
Yes, and just so you know, I got a call from Mr. Reynocha, who, leases a property there for Catan. And he voiced, and, he was telling me that we moved the bins because, we wanted to, but it was not that we wanted to, it's just that the property owner where the bins
Exactly.
were at requested that they be removed. So we did, and that was the only logical place that we could find. But the issue with him is restaurant, food items. And so he told me he had found a solution. And he said, can I call you if things don't work out? And I said, yes, of course. And so but he didn't call me anymore. He's aware that there was a meeting today, so I
Yes, he is.
assumed that based on that things worked out. But if that is the option that, that the board, recommends or approves, based on your recommendation, then maybe that could be something that would be also helpful to them, because it is food, it's leftover, whatever, and of course for the prep and everything else, make sure it's all sanitary, so.
Well,
question just is-
I think what he worked out, Ms. Grasso, was that, did he work out the agreement with you all?
no, not yet.
No?
Not yet. He was advised that we would start charging for the trash pickup, or for, not the trash pickup, because my guys were
No,
not gonna
no.
dispose of his trash.
For the
He would
disposal.
just get access to where the trash bins are
trash
right
bins.
now.
I thought that maybe he had reached an agreement with them.
Okay, that's my understanding, based, because when he called me and I called him back, he says, no, I think I've
He
already
was
found a
advised,
solution.
he was advised and he was given that option, but he didn't
He didn't.
So yes or no,
confirm
or
with.
he just-
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
okay. So I don't know what he's doing then.
Yeah.
And most of the elderly can walk down with their trash?
They have their providers, the providers.
No, they-
The
okay.
majority, I'd say 98% of them have providers. And then the rest come down and they drop off the recycle, they can come drop off the trash, and it would eliminate,
A lot of
the-
things.
a lot of
The
things.
smell
Let's
and,
just
you
keep
know.
it, a
What would it
lot
take
of
for us to
things.
close the chutes? Do we know?
I'm sorry?
Well, you just probably just have to tell them not to use them anymore.
We would
Probably
probably
should.
lock them,
I'll
like,
lock
we
them.
would lock
Or
them
lock
like we do with the service rooms. We
Oh,
could
okay.
do a lock, and if need be, they need to be reopened again, we just unlock them. I mean, we would need, people would
Yeah, I
need,
think
not
we
people,
should
but
Worth the trust.
Spectrum would need access to them, and which I have a key in my office, and they come in within working hours. It's Spectrum, AT&T that would need to come and service, because the mechanical rooms are in there for the tape cable and the phone.
Have you checked with solid waste? Because right now they're not charging, the city doesn't charge the Hamilton anything for,
The Hamilton is not being charged anything at the moment for trash.
yeah.
We-
So
we-
once you decide on that.
Once we decide, the cost would be $220 monthly
How many cans?
for as many as we need.
You can start off with 10.
Well, but it's a lot cheaper than the rest.
Yes, it is a lot less. I would just maybe have staff do the call and make sure that Steve knows and that that's the agreement.
Mr. Dice knows, and that
Okay.
the supervisor for the downtown
They can check
area
into it then.
can come check with me and say, okay, yes,
Okay.
we're gonna be picking up trash at 7 AM. So
Right.
somebody can have the cans
Good.
ready before 7 AM, come and bring them back in, 8 AM,
And what
nothing
would-
happened.
What would be the expectations? I mean, daily pickup?
Daily pickup.
7 days a week?
7 days a week.
And at what time? Or you would work the time?
I would work the times as long as as long as it's 7:15, we're good. And then we can have another pickup at 4:30. That'd be perfect, because it'd be twice a day. And we would, I mean, the trash would be gone, the snow would be gone.
I'll follow up with Stephen.
Yeah, just to make sure that we all have a clear understanding, and I know on the city's behalf, we are trying to make sure
Yes.
that we maintain the downtown, and so that's why you have more than, almost every day, you have trash pickup, and so that's because of that, trying to keep it clean.
Yes.
So if it works out, then it's something that,
Because the
It's more
recycle,
affordable.
the recycle for the site is on Fridays.
Right.
But if we have a lot of recycle, all I have to do is call Mr. Vice, and he'll
Yes.
like, oh yes, I'll swing by, he picks it
Yes,
up, and
they'll
it's
pick it
gone,
up.
and alleviates
Yeah,
a
no
lot of
problem.
the accumulating of the recycle downstairs.
I think it's worth a try.
I just want to make sure that the city was, I just checked with Steve to make sure that whether we were paying, the Hamilton was paying.
No,
or
of
not.
course, yeah, no, and that's why I'm saying, just to make sure that there's a clear understanding. Now, the only other thing I feel too is just to make sure that wherever the cans are gonna go, there's no obstruction on the sidewalk, because we do have the elderly go there, so I just wanna make sure that either they're against the wall or
They
somehow,
would be
no one
against the wall.
trips or runs into,
There's still a-
or they can get hurt.
Yeah.
That would be my
Yeah.
concern. But other than that,
So would the board like us to pursue that option?
Yes.
Yes. A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay. Motion carries to pursue the option of the green caps.
You?
Okay, and as far as ours, I think is it, you have the insurance.
Can you explain that? You gonna bring up the insurance?
I'm sorry?
You gonna bring up the insurance? Or who
It's
bring
on
it?
here, but. I'll-
This is the insurance proposal that we've had for Hamilton. It's been the same insurance for years. It's gonna be up for renewal, it expires in 60 days. I know Arturo had asked about looking for something less expensive, and this would be something that the city would need to do and contact their providers to see.
Because this expires June 10th, is that correct?
No, this expires from the date they emailed it, it was in 60 days. Let me see. Let's see if it's here.
About 2 weeks ago?
Sent it 3 weeks ago, so I would imagine by the end of July, we would need to submit a new.
Who is Five Star Properties Purchasing Group? Can you explain that? I don't know.
This is an insurance through Capstone with it's like a bulk insurance. They've got all the properties
apartments.
there, all the apartments, everything, and they do give us a big discount for having so many properties. I can tell you that most of the properties that we oversee have this insurance. There's a handful that will have their own depending on where they have the loan finance. For example, I've got an owner that has it through IBC because it's less expensive. They have all their monies and everything there, so they get it a little less expensive. But for the most part, everybody's going through this insurance.
Do you know what the premium is? It doesn't have the amount. How much is the premium?
They sent it on the email. I don't know if it's here. I don't see it, that it was printed.
I don't know what the premium is,
I don't see it.
and then they're going with surplus lines, which means that they didn't go to an admitted carrier. So
Let's see.
My question is, have they tried to find an admitted carrier? Sometimes the admitted carriers don't want to insure it, so they have to go through surplus, which is okay. Because you tried to get it, because the admitted carrier is protected by the guarantee fund of the state. With surplus lines, they're not guaranteed, so if a surplus line goes broke, you're,
That's it.
and they can't pay your claims. It normally doesn't happen, but just asking. I mean, everybody sells surplus lines, so. But you always want to go through an admitted carrier first, and if you cannot find an admitted carrier, then you go through surplus lines, because you have no choice. So that was my question.
Yes, I believe so.
And I don't know why they didn't shop it here locally. We have a lot of insurance agencies in town.
Well, that was my question to Capstone. I said, well, can you get the board quotes? And they said, no, it's not the responsibility.
Oh, okay.
This is a
It's
sheet.
not who's responsible.
They told me that's not their responsibility, so I just want to get your direction as a board. That's why we put it on here, just to see if you wanted me to continue or to initiate looking for one, or if you wanted to just remain with the same.
Because the cost is not bad.
So. 'Cause that's correct, right? You said that it's not, you guys don't.
Correct, we don't, you know,
It's not part of our management agreement to quote insurance?
I'm not sure.
Not
That's why
to quote.
I need to check that.
with different vendors.
Can you check and then maybe let's table it and let's see if we want to shop it here locally, just to compare, just to see.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, and then we're gonna at least say we tried.
Right.
I don't know.
At least you see what's out there. Good.
Just a-
Competitive.
Just a-
This is.
And then that's what we wanted, is just make sure what the board wanted to do.
That's what I would.
We're on the month-to-month with Capstone, right?
At this point, yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may ask if the board would consider moving up item number 9, Crown Castle. The attorney is going to present that item if he's got another meeting scheduled that we need him
I
at.
have another meeting at 1 come in. If I leave, we don't have a quorum, right?
Right.
And then you can't vote on
Right.
anything else?
Right, can we just do that one? Is that the most urgent one other than?
I would say so.
If it's urgent, if not, I mean.
Yeah, no, yours is your urgent one.
Yeah, we need to get to that one.
I hate to
mean,
leave too, because
no,
I
understand.
have,
I
I'm
understand,
running that meeting, so
I know.
I need to leave in about 10 minutes.
I understand. At least we can
I'll
move
keep
that
it to 3. So, Mr. Garcia asked me to review the request from Crown Castle to put, I guess, some equipment on
The antenna?
the billboard structure. So I guess Pinnacle owns the rooftop easement, and they also own the tower and anything that relates to the tower. Unfortunately, in my review of this, it doesn't look, it's not clear that that they're entitled to put stuff on there, because it does say there's some equipment that's called easement equipment that belongs to them, and then there's some equipment that the grantor that gave the easement kept and is allowed to keep up there. And the documents talk about there being an audit of all the easement equipment that belongs to the easement holder. That, and the email that was provided by the Crown Castle folks, it sounds like they don't have a record of what the inventory of easement equipment is for purposes of this. So it's not clear what's the grantor's equipment and what's the easement equipment. And so that structure is not really a structure pertinent to the tower, because, I mean, it's clear that they bought the tower and everything that's associated with the tower, but since that has really to do with the billboard, it would be, I mean, it would be something that could be allowed, but it's not something that I think is mandated, at least not clearly from the terms of the easement agreement. And so I think if it were just some, I mean, there's no doubt that they can put a structure and they can make some, they need our permission to make any kind of structural alterations, and so I think that's what they're making a request that can't be unreasonably delayed. But that's to make alterations to the actual easement property itself, and so if that fixture is more considered equipment and not structure, it's not clear that they are entitled to. I mean, if we're not using it, and we're not gonna derive any financial benefit of allowing them to have this agreement with Sprint to locate equipment.
So we wouldn't get any money for allowing them to do that?
As of the request, I think the request, how it's phrased, and what I emailed is, we are allowed to lease this space because it's ours as easement holders, and so they would be getting all the benefit. I don't think were being factored in the mix, and so this may require further discussion with your legal counsel as to like what your options are and if it's worth pursuing, fighting out whether this is our equipment or their equipment, and ultimately what the financial benefit would be to getting into an arrangement with Sprint or any other telecom provider.
No, I don't know what, if the board decides what kind of delay it might cause. There is a historical district landmark board meeting tomorrow. We kind of put it on their agenda for tomorrow based on what the board would decide. They still has to pass through that element too because of the historical aspect of the building. So I don't know what the,
So you're saying if we say no, they can say yes?
no, but they can say yes or no to it. I mean, on their aspect of it, on the historical side, if there's any issues related to that. But ownership wise, the board's gotta make a decision if they deem, it to be, like he just mentioned, is it the easement or not the easement? And are we willing to fight for it or not,
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to find out, did we talk to Homero over there in IT to find out on the history on that?
Yes, the easement, what do you mean? I'm sorry.
Yes, because we've got, the city's we've got somebody also on board, reviewing all the antennas and the thing is that there's a big demand right now
Mhm.
with all these telecom companies.
And they're all paying?
And they're all paying.
They're all paying.
And so that's why I would like for, if Omero's, staff, Mimi, didn't look at it, I'd like for them to,
This one, yes.
they're aware of it.
They're aware of it.
Okay.
But are we entitled to payment?
Because they have, there's different issues to it. They have to provide structural information to IT on the
Okay.
antenna and
All right,
everything
that's what I
else.
wanna find out.
But since it's not gonna be on the antenna, they would still have to be on the billboard. And I think this one's, as I understand, I'm not too sure, but this one's related to the Sprint antenna that's by the outlet mall.
Mhm.
And I think there's something about moving it
Yes.
with that antenna there that's there. So I think that's why they have that urgency on this one to relocate.
But they're trying, that Sprint, they're trying to
Yes.
find or need to find
Yes, Sprint.
another location. But, obviously, it appears that there would, or could be a financial, benefit here that could come to.
Yeah, because clearly if they
Hamilton.
wanted to co-locate,
Yeah.
put it on the actual tower, that's theirs, they own it,
Yes.
but they're not trying to put it on there, they're trying to put it on the billboard frame, and so who owns the billboard frame that gets the benefit of that being placed there, and so
So that's a board decision at this point.
I don't know what the financial, what Sprint is paying to co-locate on there. I know at least if they're doing it on public right away, they can do it now on the cheap, but.
They could pass up any income that could
I
be.
agree. I agree.
No, on behalf of the board, I act as the liaison for the board, and I have to sign off as, for the ownership of the board, for the approval for the Historical District Landmark Board. So I can withdraw the board's approval tomorrow. I just need to.
Table it while there's further discussion. I think that, I don't
There's
want
a
us to
benefit that
lose
we
a,
could get.
yes, a
Yeah.
financial benefit because,
I would hate
like
to
I
give it
said.
up without even knowing that we
That's
gave it
right.
up.
Right.
Okay. Right. And then that's why I asked Chris to look into it, just to make sure if there
We'll
was.
table it
any-
until we.
Until we can get additional
Get more
information.
information. I move that we table it until we find out.
Okay.
So
All
we
in
can
favor
find
to
it
table
out.
the
They
item?
can probably go to historical and get it approved, but it's not approved by the
Right,
board
that can also
to
happen.
Well, I'm
get
afraid
it
of,
approved without,
I'm afraid if, I don't know what legal consequence there might be.
Well, that's not for me to tell them, but we wouldn't necessarily want to give the impression that we're on board if we're then not going to be on board.
Well, let's just-
Just take-
Whatever the
Let's table it.
historic landmark board does or doesn't do, it really has nothing to do with that.
I don't think we should make that decision without knowing all the facts.
I think we need to, additional info.
That's why I want to make sure, since I'm kind of like your representative for the,
Just tell them.
day and stuff, just
Okay.
want to make sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got cut out.
That's
I
okay,
apologize.
we
Sorry.
understand.
I guess the-
Okay, well,
Okay, so,
there will, no?
so then we just adjourn?
Meeting is adjourned at
Yeah, that's not correct. 12:52.
12:52.
12:52. The other items will
Thank
be
you,
brought
Chris.
at the next
The next
meeting,
meeting.
or just, you won't call it.